human struggles that happen for all people, but especially girls and women. So the woman that I am today, I honestly feel I'm probably at the most empowered place I've ever been. I'm full of this kind of vibrancy and buoyancy, but I have a lot of compassion for the little girl who had to go through this quite deep and profound journey to get here. And that's why I love helping women, especially on their journeys, because they get to this stage in their lives and they're going, is this it? And they haven't looked back and figured out what it is that is still fundamentally inside them, holding them back. Because we all think that actually we've got everything, but the truth is there's still something missing. They're going, is this it? And you go, it is, and it isn't.
So that question of, is this it? I think it's one that everybody has asked themselves at some point in their life. And it's one that can be a passing moment, or it's one that can lead you to take extraordinary decisions in order so that this isn't it. You work with a lot of women, a lot of very successful, ambitious women. What do you see as universal across those women? Is it the feeling of, is this it? Is it reaching that moment of, is this it? Is that inevitable for all of us?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable for all of us. And I think what happens at that moment is, and we touched on it earlier before we started recording, was this sense that we want to feel alive, right? So in order to feel alive at this is this it point, we start either doing really constructive things that build and create. And so this is the creator consciousness, right? Or we start smashing things up, right? And it's very detrimental, especially if you then add in perimenopause, teenage children, aging parents. And these women, very successful, they have the business, they have the children, the house, and then they look around and they go, I'm just going to smash something up in order to actually feel alive. They leave marriages, they leave good businesses, they start bad businesses, they start drinking, they start having sex with people they shouldn't have sex with, they start taking drugs, all sorts of things that
all to seek a feeling of being alive. What is the feeling of being alive that we're seeking? I think we know it when we feel it, but we don't know how to articulate it. How would you articulate it? What is, and why are we seeking that so desperately often?
In the summer, after I'd gone through something quite fundamental in my life, I was reading Michael Singer's book, Untethered Living, and I decided, this is so ridiculous, I decided to live from this feeling of ecstatic joy. I was like, I'm going to live. So I've taken drugs in the past. I know what having an experience of something whooshing up through you feels. And I thought, I'm just going to replicate that. I'm just going to be that. I'm just going to embody that. And I decided and realized we can all do that. So this idea that if I get the car or I get the man or I get the business or I get the deal or whatever, that's going to give me that feeling. It's just so external, and the external disappears, right? Because the deal ends, the boyfriend leaves, the children leave the house, and then you're still left without the thing that gave you the feeling. If you create the feeling inside, you go, it can't leave me. I can't be abandoned by myself unless I choose to.
So let's talk about that creator, because I want to know, how do you create that feeling inside? And it probably comes down to a phrase that you talk about, which I love, which is the creator consciousness or the victim consciousness. What's the difference between those two? And can you give any examples of people that you've helped who have taken one or the other, and what happens?
I can. So the difference between victim consciousness and creator consciousness is it's an abundance versus lack. So let me tell you a story about a client of mine in America. She was the youngest member on the board in this business, and she was a female. And she came to me and she was really struggling because she was finding it all very serious. She felt she didn't have a seat at the table. She felt that she was being ignored, not listened to, that she didn't matter, and that it wasn't very fun. And I said to her, what does this remind you of? And she said, I don't know what you mean. What does it remind me of? And I said, well, tell me about your childhood. And she said, when I was 8 and my mum's lying throwing up in the corner because she's an alcoholic, my father's left, and I'm getting my 6-year-old sister to school, and no one's seeing me, no one's interested in me, no one knows. I'm wearing this mask, and it's all really serious. And I said to her, so who's showing up in the boardroom? And she's, oh my God, the 8-year-old is showing up in the boardroom. And I said, so what does the 8-year-old want? And she said, she wants to play. She wants to have fun. She wants to be listened to. She wants to be seen. She's now the CEO of that business. She's lost all the weight. So the victim consciousness was, I'm an 8-year-old. No one's listening. I don't matter. I'm not important. I'm constantly going to be bulldozed. She had a great life, right? but she was still showing up as a victim in that life. And then she became a creator. She starts playing, she starts having fun, she starts showing up, and she's in this boardroom going, I don't care. I'm showing up to make a difference with that kind of vital energy. And then
so she changed the energy inside her.
And she loses all this weight. She looks at me, she's 40 and she looks, and I was like, and I saw her last time, I was like, I'm jealous. You look amazing.
It's so difficult to do that though, change that switch in your head. How do you advise people to do that? Do you have to get to a point where you're like, enough, I'm changing this?
I think most women have a hyper-independent story. I shouldn't need help. I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
I will do this on my own. If I get help, then it won't be my own personal journey. I had it too. And I think there's an idea of self-regulation, which is self-mastery, your ability to manage and take care of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions and the life that you want to have. Co-regulation is my ability to understand that if I get someone else's brain and heart and soul and nervous system into the conversation with me, I'm going to do better. So a coach, a mentor, a best friend, a lover, whatever it is, you need to have good people around you that mirror back what's possible to you. I don't think you can do it on your own, is my opinion. What do you think?
I love personal development books and all this stuff, and I'm always trying to do this stuff by myself. I always try and think positive. I would say I'm like someone who falls off the wagon. Yeah. I do well for a day, a week, a month, and then I fall off the wagon and go back into cycle. I think I cycle through emotions actually of optimism and then less optimistic. And I don't think I would be able to hold it on the fully optimistic side 100% of the time or even 90% of the time.
So there's a lovely phrase which I learned, which was transformation, not information. So information is, if we went on information, look at the internet, right?
Oh, no.
We'd all be thin, rich, happy, and not single, right? It's so whatever. Yeah. But transformation requires you to embody, and that means put it into your body, the values and beliefs that you want to embody, right? Yeah. So if someone says to me, what do I represent? It's pretty obvious what I represent because it's in my body, right? Yeah. It comes out of my body. And that's what we do with coaching, is get people to embody the thing that they want so that they can get it.
And when it comes to what's keeping women stuck, what is it? What's the number one thing you see that keeps women stuck?
It's the age-old, you've probably heard this so many times in different books that you've read. And actually there's another thing, I'm going to read it out actually, is the not enoughness. I'm not good enough. But there's also the too muchness. Have you experienced that?
Where you think that you are too much.
Don't be too much.
Yes. Oh, 100% I've experienced that. I think if you're a woman and you're running businesses and you're having a degree of success, I think you do worry you're too much. Yeah. And you have to tone it down. Yeah. And in fact, sometimes when I talk about what I do, I just try and avoid saying. Really. I say I don't really do very much. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
And you're dumbing down.
I'm aware that I dumb myself down. I'm 100% aware that I dumb myself down. I dumb down my opinions. I dumb down the things I'm doing. I try and avoid talking about things. So are you saying I'm experiencing the fear of being too much?
Yeah, how dare you be a beautiful, smart woman making great things happen in the world? That's annoying to some people, right? Yeah. And the transformation for me had to be so much of yourself that everyone feels safe to be so much of themselves around you too. Because if you don't, then no one else has permission to do it.